everyone, welcome to Paint2Play. I'm Chris, and today I'd like to bring you my very first full painting video. And I think I've already shot myself in the foot because I've decided to start off by painting this ancient Tau Ethereal that I found in a shoebox somewhere. It's a really cool model. It is metal, and I did a bit of a hack job of it when I was a teenager. And I've decided to come back and give it another try and show you how I'm going to try and improve this thing. I have given them a new base, you can see here, maybe not best quality on the camera, but I've already made this using cork and I've used some texture paste to build it up. But I think it's now time to put a bit of paint on this and see how he looks. I can give you a bit of a close-up look of what we're working with. You can see here that when I first painted this, you can see I was a bit heavy-handed. I wasn't particularly good at thinning my paints, so it's quite chunky and claggy in some areas. And I'm not one for stripping paint off models, so I've just done a quick primer over the top, and I'm going to see what I can do to sort of fix the damage that I did all those years ago and get this guy looking fresh. Fantastic. Right there we've got a nice base coat down there on his skirt, tunic, what would you guys call it? In the first base layer I've sort of noticed a lot of the imperfections that have sort of come up. There's a lot of old paint that's sort of been put into these cracks here, but I'm hoping that in the highlight stage I'll be able to sort of make those points less noticeable. My next step, I'm going to use a little bit of the original base colour, and I'm just going to add a little bit of light earth. I'm going to mix these together to make a mid-tone. Finish up that highlight step, we're just going to keep adding more of our highlight colour to this mixture until we have almost our pure highlight colour. Again, we go back over, just picking out those highest edges, those highest, most raised edges. Really hit the edges that will catch the light the most and are most likely to draw the eye. Okay, and that is the bottom skirt finished, and I'm reasonably happy with it. I've even had the opportunity to do a little bit of texture at some points on the cloth to make it look a little bit more like fabric. The next part of this model I would like to do is the blue skin. As a general rule for miniature painting, you should always try and start with the areas that are hardest to reach. I didn't do that, so I'm going to try and fix that mistake now and go and do the blue skin. So now that I've got this nice mixture, let's start applying it to the skin. And the most important thing when using contrast paint is to make sure it doesn't pool too much in the recesses. Obviously we want it to go into the recesses, but not excessively so. Okay, and after applying that initial contrast paint base coat, I can see that actually some of the detail isn't too bad, particularly on the hands. However, the face has taken a bit of a beating, and that contrast paint has really shown where the damage really is. But I'm hoping to be able to polish this up and improve it in the next step. Next step, I'm going to try and use a very, very light blue colour to really make the face pop, because as everyone knows, the head of a model should typically be a different colour to the rest of the model to really make it stand out. So I'm going to try the snow blue, see how it goes. Okay, and after putting a second load of highlights over the skin, I've done my best. You can see the hands aren't so bad. I've been able to get a decent highlight on those, but the face was quite a bit harder because, like I say, it had quite a lot of old paint already caked onto it, and the same with the chest, but I've done my best. Our next step is going to be to start painting some of these armor panels and ribbons that are coming down its sides here. And to do that, we're going to use some black as an undercoat, and then we're going to highlight with some gold. And we've now completed the black part of his armor, and again you can see some of the detail coming through, so it's not all bad news. The majority of the black areas have actually come out quite nicely, but while that's drying, I'm going to try and do a little bit of work on the cape, because right now it's just a pure white, and you can see how grainy and streaky and full of old paint it is. So I'm going to try and give it a nice thick coat of grey to sort of iron out some of those creases, so it looks nice and smooth again. A nice large brush and some watered down grey. I'm just going to go over the cloak, try to cover up as much of the imperfections as I can. Okay, now that Theo has a grey base coat over all of his clothing, we're able to go back in the white and try and pick out some of the folds of that cloth. Now for the gold bits, I'm going to start with a base coat of rusty brass, and then I'm going to try and go over with some Reichling flesh shade and finish off with a little bit of this Vallejo gold, which is very, very saturated, very, very bright and shiny, so I'm hoping it will give it a little bit of punch, because right now the model is looking a little bit devoid of colour. And all the yellow and gold have been base coated. It all just needs a shade of Reichling flesh shade, but again I'm going to wait for the gold to fully dry before I apply that. The next step then is to add some silver onto this weapon here. I believe these are called equalizers. I don't think there is rules for these anymore. I think it's called an honor staff that they use now in the newer ethereal models. I don't think they do these anymore, which makes this quite an interesting one. And there we have it, a 100% completed Tau Ethereal. Now, I do think this is a good glow up from where we first started, and I'm quite happy with the overall paint job. I do feel, however, that I would like to have perhaps taken the paint off the model before we began, as I felt this was one of the biggest roadblocks that I encountered. And it's now time for us to go on to the next section of our videos here at Paint2Play, which is the play part of our video. Every single video, when we paint up one of our models or one of our units, we are going to pit them in combat against a unit of termagants, a unit of Space Marine intercessors, terminators, and finally a ballistas dreadnought, to see how our characters and how our units perform on the tabletop. Before we start, let's discuss some of the rules that we're going to be using when we do these tests. We are not going to be using any modifiers from attached units, and we are not going to be accounting for any detachment rules or army rules. We just want to be looking at the data sheet of the model in question. Now, this Tau Ethereal is obviously not designed to be put into combat. If this guy is ending up in combat, you are doing something wrong with your army. This guy is designed to sit on the backfield and generate command. Now, our Ethereal has a pretty poor 2 attacks, hitting on 4s at strength 5 with no armor piercing and only a single point of damage. So I'm not expecting this guy to be doing any real damage until we get to the termagants at the end. But let's see if our dice roll hot. First up, let's roll some dice for our Ethereal, taking on a ballistas dreadnought in vicious close combat. Okay, hitting on 4s. Well, he's only got 1 hit, and the ballistas dreadnought has a toughness of 10 with a strength of 5. The Ethereal is wounding on a 6. And to the surprise of no one, the Ethereal's attacks bounce off the ballistas dreadnought's armor harmlessly. Next up, let's see our Ethereal take on a unit of 5 terminators. Okay, next we're going to be hitting on 4s. And of course the Ethereal misses with both of them. Typical Tau melee. Now let's see if our Ethereal can chip off a little bit of damage from these 5 ultramarine intercessors. Against the 5 intercessors, we're hitting on 4s again. And again, our Ethereal misses twice. And the final test for our Ethereal is a 20-man unit of termagants. Now against the termagants, this is the Ethereal's best bet to get some damage, but let's see if we can hit first. Hitting on 4s, and we finally have 2 decent hits. Now the Ethereal's strength is 5 against the termagants' defense or toughness, which is 3, so we're winning on 3s. And fantastic, we got 2 wounds through. Now the Ethereal's weapons, we're classing them as the Honor Stave in this scenario, has an armor piercing value of nothing. So we now go to the armor save of the termagants, who are saving on 5s. 2 failed saves, which equals 2 dead termagants. So, as expected, our Ethereal did not do as well in combat as we probably expected him to, but I was quite impressed that he was at least able to get 2 kills on the termagants. But fair to say, I don't think our Ethereal here will be making or declaring any charges anytime soon. I hope everyone out there enjoyed this video, and if you have any feedback for myself or any advice what maybe I could have done differently or what I should attempt to do next time, please write in the comments below and let me know what you think. Thank you very much, and see you next time.